Hello everyone, it's the Sinister Kage, and in today's video I will be talking about Saiki from the disastrous life of Saiki. I've heard things like Saiki is limitless or that he is infinite. Well, I don't believe that, and I will be debunking all those statements in today's video. Shout out to Fraxx for our amazing intro today in today's video, and I'll be linking his channel down below and his Instagram page. Please check him out, and also please subscribe to my channel below, like, drop your comments on which characters you would want me to do a video on next. Now, first of all, Saiki is not infinite, limitless, or galaxy level, or even universal level to talk about. All we know is that Saiki has the ability to keep and continuously grow his power. Basically, he has unlimited growth, more or less. I am not saying his growth is unlimited, but from the anime we have been given the lore that his growth is unlimited. Think of it as this: since the Hawk has the ability to continuously get stronger, the angrier he gets, does it make him infinite? Not exactly, no. Just because he can continuously get stronger, the angrier he gets, does not mean that he is infinite. Saying he is infinite and just because his powers are ever growing, it's basically just a no limit fallacy, which I explained in my previous video. Please check it out. But in summary, it is basically lack of proof. It is when a certain ability is elevated to heights it was never shown to be capable of achieving. That is what a no limit fallacy is. Now, I see Saiki more or less as a gag character that comes from a comedy series, and the writing does have some plot holes which I will be going through in this video, and his powers do have limitations as stated in the video. And yes, I will be taking into consideration that he has a limiter on his head. That's, we all know the limiters, for us, those of us who have seen the series. I heard things like if he didn't have his limiters at age 5, when he got them he would have grown more powerful. I do agree, but that isn't how the story works, so that argument is out of the trash already. First of all, Saiki himself in one of his episodes stated that with his limiter, his 5-year-old self was even more powerful than him, which doesn't really, commend on his growth, because it more or less downplays his growth if he is 17 years of age now. The statement really does affect how you see his growth. Saiki also stated that he could destroy the world without much effort, and that he could make the world explode through reality warping by accident should his limiters become undone. But for a fact, we've seen Saiki without his limiters, so that's more or less still in the agreeable range. But I'll take that statement as the basis for his present power level as per what he has said. On the topic of reality warping, he stated himself that he cannot undo his reality warping, which really makes it half-assed to me, as we see most of his reality warping only change things in his world, like hair color, speed of healing, and other minute things, but we never see any change in the fundamental laws of physics. And yes, Saiki is not 4th dimensional or 5th dimensional. He has shown no feat that says he is not affected by time, although he can time travel and perform time manipulation, but even his time traveling abilities have been given limitations. Onto the volcano situation that happened in the series, Saiki tries to stop the volcano himself and tries to suppress it, I guess, and fails. So he uses time manipulation to turn back the time of the Earth by 1 year, and the Earth is stuck in a loop. So at the end of the year, basically at the time when required, he goes back to check his strength in order to see if he's able to take on the volcano. And we see that this loop has been going on for we don't know how long anyway, but in the end of the series he takes down the volcano, or he stops the volcano with 10 clones that he can make. Although for him to make the clones, one of his clones makes another clone, which makes another clone, and they are similarity to him reduced. Well, anyway, it took him 10 clones to handle it after his brother tells him to teleport the lava out into outer space rather. The whole scenario just downplays his whole strength, and this really doesn't do well for him. If it would take 10 of his clones just to handle a matter, and he states that he can reality warp to an extent where he can destroy the Earth without much effort, that really is skimpy. But let's just take it as the plot. Anyway, there's also a scene where Kusuke, which is his elder brother, tries to get back at Saiki. Scenario, Saiki is forced to teleport severally without waiting for the 3 minutes he usually waits when he had his limiter on, and by teleporting constantly he avoids his brother's attacks. Later on, after let's say lots of dodging in the episode, he later comes and tells his brother that he has tired himself out and picks up the limiter. The scenario was that he couldn't pick up the limiter due to his strength without the limiter, so he needed to reduce his strength, and he says that he tired himself out, which means that Saiki does not have infinite stamina. And no, Saiki does not have 2 limiters, he only has 1. The other antenna is said by his brother to be more or less a trap where Saiki would get his secret exposed to the whole world if he removes it, and we saw that his brother didn't actually mean that. Anyway, that's by the way. So it is clear that the series does have plot holes, and both his powers and statements I am going to take as benefit of a doubt that they are true. With the statements, you can put him at planetary level since he said so. And yes, I know he has tons of abilities like telepathy, teleporting, psychometry, flight, precognition, fire manipulation, shape-shifting, invisibility, petrification, illusion creation, and lots more. I will put the link for the list of his powers in the description below. Now, onto speed. Although Saiki really doesn't have any high speed feats, he is calculated to be as subrelativistic rather, since he flew across the continent to America with his power, and the figures come in at 0.09 c or 0.09 times the speed of light. That is his speed feat. Although yes, we do know he can teleport and has to wait between teleportations with his limiter, and without his limiter he does not need to wait during his teleportations. With that out of the way, I'll be dealing with why I think Saiki is not solar system or galaxy level, and for this I'll be referencing calcs from one of my favorite YouTubers, Just a Robot, since I agree with his calcs, and I'll link the video below. I will be starting with planet level because that's what his statement says he can do without much effort. This video I will display will be showing you the power of 1 megaton. In calculating the amount of energy needed to destroy the moon and planets, we will be using the formula to calculate gravitational binding energy of a planet, and that would be 3/5 times gravity of the planet or body times the mass, all squared, times divided by the radius. Note, size does not equal mass. Mass is not proportional to the size of an object. For example, 1,300 Earths would fit inside Jupiter, but Jupiter only has 317.8 times the mass of Earth. With this said, even if 1,300 Earths fit inside Jupiter, Jupiter's mass is not 1,300 times that of Earth. And this makes it clear that the energy needed to destroy Jupiter would not be 1,300 times that of Earth, because mass greatly affects in that equation. The energy needed to destroy the moon is 1.2 times 10 raised to the power of 28 joules of energy, and it will take 1,800 times that to destroy the Earth. Assuming Saiki can destroy the Earth with not much effort using reality warping, let's go to the Sun then. The Sun is about 109 times the diameter of Earth and weighs 333,000 times as much as planet Earth. It will take 1,300,000 planet Earths to fit inside the Sun, and the Sun has 28 times the gravity. To destroy the Sun, using the formula stated before, it will take 17,148,623.9 times the energy needed to destroy the Earth. Think of that. These figures are probably wrong a bit and inaccurate, since I used the formula for planets and the Sun is not a planet, but the calculations are really close. The Sun is a star and we have to take that into consideration. Using Pluto as the edge of the solar system, just using that, Pluto is 3.67 billion miles away from the Sun. Given that to be called the solar system buster, you would need to create an explosion that would destroy all the planets in the solar system, and you will need to output enough energy to cover the area of such large radius of 3.67 billion miles. I used Pluto as the edge of the solar system because most writers do refer to Pluto anyway. That won't be the main cause of the matter at the moment. So he would have to cause an explosion, not necessarily an explosion, but you get the point. I'm using explosion here to give off how large it has to be. Given that the Sun is at the center of our solar system, which it is not accurate, I'm just saying that as just an example, and Pluto is 3.67 billion miles away. If you want to cover the distance and the area using the radius from the center of the Sun to Pluto, just giving assumptions here so you would understand, you would have to cover that much area using the radius at 3.67 billion miles. That's a lot of area to cover. Now let's compare the solar system to our galaxy. Our galaxy is stated to be about 100,000 light years across. It contains from 100 to 400 billion stars. And note, a light year is the distance that light travels in a year, and this comes in at 5.8 trillion miles. Then again, our observable universe is said to contain 2 trillion galaxies, with galaxies like the Andromeda galaxy being 220,000 light years wide. That's basically 220,000 light years in width. Now we can move on to other galaxies like IC 1101 that span in width as much as 4 million light years. In conclusion, comparing our own planet to planets like Jupiter is one thing. Seeing that Saiki without his limiters at present is planet level without much effort, and when he was 5 years old he was said to be able to destroy a moon. And if Saiki compared his present self with limiters to his child self without limiters, then that's really much contradictory if you want to scale him, since he is 17 years currently. You would need to multiply his power by 17 billion times to get him to star level, let alone the entire solar system, before galaxies that can contain 400 billion stars. With this knowledge, you would know that already comparing a galaxy to a whole universe that contains, at least observably from what we know, 2 trillion galaxies, it is clear that even scaling Saiki to be star level threat is almost impossible, and scaling him to be a solar system level threat is also really absurd. So I hope you all enjoyed the video today. Thanks for watching. The links for some of the calculations and facts will be stated down below, and I'll put them up. Please subscribe and share to others, and comment on which videos you want me to do next.